Dude, this build is insane. We went from 1-button Spellslinger to 0-button Herald of Thunder. We are just walking around and everything is exploding. Look at this clear, dude. I'm just walking around. Everything around me is dying. It's insane. It's like we activated the cheat engine. Anything that comes on our screen is just going to explode. This build is crazy. Let's see how this actually works out. Hello everyone. Welcome back. Tripolarbear here. We're going to talk about what I think is going to be hands down the best build for this league. You know I liked a 1-button build with my Spellslinger. I know you guys liked it too. But now, as you can see, we have something even better than 1-button. We have a 0-button build. It's insane. We don't have to press any buttons. You see all of my clear coming from an explosion chest and just me walking around until my Herald of Thunder gets close enough to hit something, making it explode, making everything around it explode, just annihilating everything. You're going to see me open legions. The entire legion is just going to explode in one pop. I'm going to like lag for 1 second, and then the entire legion is just, unleashed, and then everybody is just exploded, and it is truly quite fun to play. Just walking around, being the god of the map and everything around you dying without you having to do anything. I think this is going to be hands down the fastest map clear build, because all you need to do is be running and looting and everything is going to die for you. You don't have to cyclone anything. You don't have to cast any blade vortex. All you have to do is let your Herald of Thunder get close enough, and we'll talk about how we can scale some of that area of effect. But first of all, let's talk about kind of what is going on with this Herald of Thunder build here. So, to put it simply, this is a glorified Impulsas or a glorified Explodey chest build. Really, our Herald of Thunder is only killing one monster, and our Explosion chest and Impulsas is causing chain reactions going out, causing everything else to explode. And let's talk about this Impulsa first. So, for the Impulsas version, you are going to need a pair of gloves called Storm's Gift. So these gloves are going to cause enemies that you kill to be shocked, and they're going to create a shocking kind of aura around them, shocking everything else as well. So when you use Impulsas on a budget version of this build, that is how you're going to do all of the shocking and all of the exploding. Now, we've covered the Impulsas explosion. This is how you're going to kind of like create these huge chain reactions of explosions. But how do we scale our Herald of Thunder so hard so that it is able to actually kill that one monster very fast? Well, we're going to be using a unique ring called Storm's Secret. So Herald of Thunder is going to create that storm. The lightning bolts are coming down. This is the Herald of Thunder storm. When you shock an enemy, where normally the Herald of Thunder storm is when you kill a shocked enemy. So all we have to do to start this chain reaction is to shock one thing, which is very nice. But that's not what makes this the best ring. This Herald of Thunder storm hits enemies with increased frequency. This is like an attack and cast speed kind of combo here for a Herald of Thunder. So this is going to make the storm hit a lot more. And so we're going to wear 2 of these so that our Herald of Thunder is practically getting a cast speed for its storm with this increased frequency. It's going to hit way faster. But you see this last line here. This is where you guys are going to have the most trouble, and we're going to spend the most time talking about this part here. Take 250 lightning damage when Herald of Thunder hits an enemy. This kind of sounds like a lot of damage, right? And when we wear 2 of them, we're taking 500 lightning damage every time. Every single time our Herald of Thunder goes bzz, it's going to cause us to take 500 lightning damage. Now, how are we going to mitigate this? Well, obviously, we need to have our lightning resistance capped. And we should even get a little bit of extra maximum lightning res. You see in the tree, we can get +1 maximum lightning resistance here. Now, this isn't very much on its own, but what is very, very helpful for this budget version we'll talk about, for you guys very, very starting out with this build, you can start with the staff Agnerod South. Now, Agnerod South is going to add +5 to your maximum lightning resistance, making you take a lot less damage, because now that 500 is getting reduced even more. So the 500 was being reduced by 75%, while now the 500 is being reduced by 81%. Now, we're not going to be able to make this 0 lightning damage taken. So while we can reduce it, we still need a way to get our life back, or our energy shield back. And how we're going to do this, most importantly, so this is something that you do need for the budget version. Maybe you don't need the Agnerod South, you can get away with a whatever staff, although they are very cheap, 6 length, it's only a few exalts. The budget version for this build, it's not going to be very budget, okay? This is going to be the fastest map clear build in this league, so the budget is not going to be very budget. This is definitely a second character kind of thing. But we're going to use now a Glorious Vanity with Doriani, so bathed in the blood of whatever number, sacrificed in the name of Doriani. The Doriani is the important part. So this is going to cause 50% of non-chaos damage to bypass our energy shield. So half of all non-chaos damage is going to hit our life. The other half is going to hit our energy shield. And we're going to gain 20% of our life as extra max ES. So without this, I go down to 1400 ES. With this on, I get about 1000 energy shield, which is pretty nice. It's an extra 1k effective HP added to my, HP pool. So why is this so important? The energy shield part here is very nice, right? It's a 1k boost, but the important part here is we're taking damage to our life and to our energy shield. So now think about this for a second, right? Well, why would I want to take half of my damage to life? Well, as it is without this, damage has to hit your energy shield. So we'd need to focus, all of this lightning damage, it would be hitting our energy shield first. We'd have to focus all of our leech or regen onto our energy shield. And then once it hits our life, well, we better hope we have a lot of energy shield, leech, or regen to get that back up. But with this here, it's going to hit our life and our energy shield at the same time. So what we can do is we can get a decent amount of ES leech and a decent amount of life leech to kind of offset all of the damage we're taking. So we're going to do exactly that. One of the main links here is going to be energy leech support. So they're going to have 1.9% of their damage leached as energy shield, and we get a lot more damage. This is a huge 39% more damage while leeching. We're going to be leeching energy shield almost all of the time because we are constantly taking damage from our Herald of Thunder. So this is very, very huge. We're also going to come up here and get some more lightning damage leached as energy shield, and some lightning damage helps out as well. Now, how we get our life leached from our Herald of Thunder? Well, we're going to get that from Doriani's lesson. 0.2% of elemental damage leached as life. Also, a big help could be an Aziri's Promise Flask, converting physical and elemental damage to chaos, and then leeching the chaos. This is another great way to do that. Also, there is an Incursion Amulet. This Incursion Amulet is going to cause a certain percent of your lightning damage to be leeched as life, which is also very, very helpful.
This is something that you can pick up off of the trade website for very, very cheap, and it is very good. And you should definitely take advantage of this if you are struggling to keep your energy shield and life near max all the time. Because this build is very deadly if you don't have all this life regen, if you don't have all this energy shield to kind of offset all the damage we're taking, because we are taking so much damage from this storm secret. Okay, so this is the most important part here. You have to solve this problem of how much damage you're taking. Now, if you're doing a very, very budget option, you can use only one storm secret. You don't have to use 2 storm secrets. If you're taking just way too much damage just use one storm secret and slowly work your way towards a second one, and that is totally fine.
Another very, very great option here. So if you need to take away a storm's secret, a great option you can also do is to get one of these Circle of Regrets. Because we are using Herald of Thunder, we'd like to have at least some Herald of Thunder buffs. So you can get buff effect. The lightning damage is really good, but those are going to be more expensive. But you see here, as the implicit, we can get minus lightning damage taken from hits, and this does work with our Storm Secret hits. So check this out. For 5 chaos, we can take 75 less flat damage taken from hits, and the very, very good thing about this is that this damage is taken after our resistance, after whatever reduced lightning damage, whatever's going on. This is one of the last things that is taking damage away. So minus 75 lightning damage taken from hits. At this point, when you get something like this, you're almost taking 0 damage from the Storm Secret. Now, of course, you can only wear 1 if you're using this ring, but now the damage is 100% negligible. You're not like taking any damage at all. Even if you get like a minus 34, I would try for like a 40 or 50 kind of roll here. They are only a few chaos. And like I said, this isn't a complete budget build, but you can get away with this. So let's talk about what you would need for an absolute super budget version. So hands down, let's go through if you need just the bare minimum here for this build. Now that you kind of know what's happening here, how you're taking damage, how you're getting your clear, what's really doing the damage here, and how you're going to sustain yourself, the absolute bare minimum that you need for this build is going to be a Doriani's Glorious Vanity and at least a 5 Link Impulses, and you're going to need either one of those Circle of Regret rings that has minus lightning damage taken, or you're going to have to use Energy Shield Leech on one of your links, get Heart of Thunder if you need even more Energy Shield Leech, and you're going to need a Doriani's Lesson. I would very, very recommend getting a Doriani's Lesson large cluster, and maybe an Edziri's Promise or something like that. Although the problem is, right, if you're relying on a flask for your leech, when you get to the boss, sometimes your flask is going to run out. The boss is going to kind of like sit there for a while. It's not really going to be taking so much damage because you're probably a little budget. So you may need to kind of sit there for a second, and your flask is going to run out, and now you're taking too much damage because you relied on your flask for your sustain. So we really want to kind of get away from that. It is just like a very, very bad way to play this build, and it feels bad when you lose your flasks and you start dying because you are taking so much damage from your Herald of Thunder hitting things. So that is the absolute bare minimum. You have to get some sort of leech, and you have to get this Doriani's Lesson, making this Corrupted Soul here. Very, very good. Now, that is the minimum, right? You need the Impulses for the clear. You need the Doriani's Glorious Vanity here so that you can offset your Energy Shield and life damage. So you can take a little bit of both, therefore leeching both, right? Remember, if we took everything on Energy Shield, our Energy Shield leech needs to be like insane. And then once we hit life, our life leech is just like really, really bad. But since we're taking damage on both life and Energy Shield, we can have, just a pretty decent amount of both leeches to be able to sustain ourselves. So this is the absolute minimum you need. I would also recommend, if you're budget, to do Agnerod South. A 6-link Agnerod South is 3 Exalts, which is very, very good for this budget kind of build. Now the budget version is going to kind of run you something like 10 Exalts, something like that, which is pretty expensive for a lot of players. But for those of you who are looking for the cream of the crop, the best map clear build in this game for this league, 10 Exalts is a steal for how much clear you can get from this build and for how much you can scale it. And we'll talk about how much you can get out of this build, how much damage you can squeeze, what all these super cool upgrades can be. So let's get into that. let's get into some of what I've been doing with the build. You know, pushing it further, getting more, squeezing the juice out of here so I can squeeze even more juice out of my maps. So you see here, I have a very cool staff. I've upgraded from Ignorant South. Ignorant South is very good, and I would stick with that. So let's kind of talk about the tree here and why we've chosen Assassin. So this tree is fairly simple. What we're going to do here, we're just going to come out and get some life. We're going to grab the crit and life nodes here. More life, jewel sockets, power charges. We're really just grabbing life and power charges as we go, and jewel sockets. We're going to grab the lightning damage here. This power charge wheel, of course, because we are assassin. Some energy shield, some staff nodes, a cluster, and some more life and power charges, and some elemental damage. It is a fairly easy tree. Really just all of the power charges, as much life as we can get on the way, a cluster jewel, and whatever jewel sockets we can pick up as well. So for the assassin, this is why we've chosen the assassin. What is very, very good about assassin is you get power charges on crit, you get a free power charge, and what's insane is we get +2 base critical strike chance at maximum power charges. Now, Herald of Thunder has a base 0% crit chance. So even if we have, 1,000,000% increased critical strike chance, our Herald of Thunder will never crit unless we somehow add base crit to it. Because 1,000,000% increased of 0 is going to be 0, right? You can increase 0 as much as you want, but it's going to stay at 0 unless we make it a 1,000,000 increase of 1%, or in this case, it's going to be 2%. So Assassin adds base crit, very, very nice. A bunch of power charge shenanigans. We get free elusive effect, all of this stuff. Elusive is very good, giving us some dodge and some move speed. And of course, just more crit strike chance, more damage with hits on low life, and our critical strikes have Culling Strike. How we can add even more crit chance to our Herald of Thunder? Well, we can add 1% base crit strike chance of Herald skills with self-fulfilling prophecy. This is very nice, and I just grabbed some increased area of effect because I really like a larger Herald of Thunder area of effect and a larger explosion area of effect from my chest, which is why I've also grabbed Assert Dominance, 25 AoE, and then 20 area damage, and 3% per power charge. We're at 9 or 10 power charges, so this comes to 27 to 30% AoE, which is insane. That's so much area of effect. I also grabbed some lightning res and some max lightning resistance as well, just because I had a little small cluster here, and it was pretty nice. I get some lightning chaos resistance and some strength. So this is kind of the bare bones of the tree. I would recommend coming off of Impulsas to get an explosion chest. Now, getting this frenzy charge on hit is just something that I was thinking of for the future. Eventually, I'm going to get an amulet called Badge of the Brotherhood, which gives me as many frenzy charges as I have maximum power charges, which is very nice. Since we're scaling so many power charges, now we can get 9 to 10 frenzy charges as well, which is a lot of damage, a lot of move speed, cast speed, and then a bunch of bonuses on top of that. But this amulet is insanely priced right now, which is totally fine. It is very, very good. But this was thinking of the future with the frenzy charge on hit from Redeemer here. The important part, though, is Crusader. Enemies you kill explode, dealing 3% of their life as physical damage. Now, this is going to feel bad compared to Impulsas if all you do is slap your explode chest on the build. Boom, look at that bad boy. And you go in and you clear, it is going to feel very, very bad unless you are converting this physical damage into a lightning or some other element. So you see here, I have increased lightning damage, 10% of that converted to lightning. I have a little bit of the physical converted to fire damage here because this is a physical explosion. They're dealing physical damage when they die. So we can scale the physical damage with stuff like these gloves as well. 25% of physical damage converted to lightning. So with this, we have 10 With this, we have 35 of the physical damage converted. I also got this on my staff. So this 35 plus the 28 here is going to be a lot of conversion on top of this fire as well. So we're converting a lot of this into other elements. I'm not scaling fire damage too much, but I am scaling it a little bit with this increased fire damage and with all of this just global elemental damage here as well. Certainly I'm scaling it much more than I am physical, so I might as well spend 1 point to get this here. Now, you don't need these nodes on your Glorious Vanity, although they're very nice to have. Mainly, you just want to get at least the 25% on the gloves. These gloves are very cheap. It's another incursion rare item. You can search up this conversion very, very easy. And they all come with some lightning res. So really, all you need to look for is a little bit of life on top of that. I also got, some stuff on my staff, but you don't really need any of this. I'm just gaining lightning as chaos, gaining physical as extra lightning. All of this is pretty neat, but you just need, at minimum, these gloves here, converting some physical to lightning. And then I liked getting a lot of area of effect, which is how my explosion is chain reacting so much. So for the chest piece, get explosion, make sure you're scaling it. Your staff, at minimum, should have +1 max power charge, and the tier 1 increased damage per power charge. This is very good. Hopefully, when you Awakener Orb slaying these together, you don't get something like mana or dexterity or something like this, although there are a few little crafting tricks you can do to kind of fix some stuff like that. Namely, you see here we have the suffix being a max power charge and damage per power charge. So if you get some bad prefix that you can't normally harvest remove, you can go ahead, lock suffixes, scour it, and only the suffixes will remain. So I could probably craft this a little bit better, but I'm happy with it. This is pretty nice. For your helmet, I have this helmet right here just because I really enjoy having these super long dashes, and I have my dash very frequently up, and it has a lot of energy shield, which is pretty nice. Because if you have a lot of energy shield, you get more energy leech and whatnot, right? Because how energy shield leech works is you can only leech up to 20% of whatever resource it is per second. So it's the same with life, same with energy shield. At most, we can only leech 20% of our energy shield, no matter how much energy shield leech we have, no matter how much damage we're doing. This is the cap, unless you get an increase to your maximum energy shield leech rate. But we don't need to do all that. As long as we have a bigger pool, that's totally fine. We're going to be leeching a lot more. But an option here that you guys should take advantage of is the +1 max power charge, which is something I would get eventually. And the nearby enemies have a -9 lightning resist, making them take even more damage from you, from your Herald of Thunder, and from your explosions on your chest. Maybe you're using the Algor Mortis gloves. Enemies in your chilling area take 27% increased lightning damage. This is very, very good. And you can sap them, making them deal less damage. But I like to kind of not have to swap stuff around, so I just have my fizz converted. I don't need single target gloves. I'm totally fine. Now, going forward, obviously, it's going to be the Tailwind boots and having Cannot Be Frozen crafted on them. And the big one is upgrading this amulet to Badge of the Brotherhood. Now, Badge of the Brotherhood has had some kind of weird things. There's, all of these posts about, oh, there's some price fixing, or maybe some builds are using them, or something's going on. But it used to be a higher price than Headhunter a little while ago, which was crazy. Now it's kind of back down to 39 exalts, which is still super, super expensive. 34, 40 for some corrupted ones. But this is because it is this good. This amulet is insane. We have increased effect of elusive per power charge. So when we have 9 or 10 power charges, we're having 100% increased effect of elusive. That is just bonkers. We're having so much more dodge. We're getting like 60% move speed when we have our elusive up. That is just so much move speed, and it's so good. Your maximum frenzy charge is equal to your maximum power charges. So now we have a max of 10 power charges because we have, and we have a max of 10 frenzy charges as well because of our power charges. Increased cooldown recovery of travel skills per frenzy charge. Well, now we have 100% increased cooldown recovery of our dash, which is already pretty fast. So now we are able to dash like a whole bunch. We get so much elusive effect. It is crazy how good this amulet is. On top of getting 10 max frenzy charges. Remember, each frenzy charge, check this out, what frenzy charges give. Each frenzy charge is going to give us 4% more damage. So let's see, frenzy charges, 4% increased attack speed, cast speed, and 4% more damage for frenzy charge per frenzy charge. Now we're getting 40% more damage. This is like a whole extra link or two onto our Herald of Thunder and whatever we're using. We're just getting a lot more damage, attack, and cast speed. It is this good, and that is why this amulet is so expensive here. So let's talk about maybe what we would choose for our anointments. So what I've chosen, because I don't have phasing on any jewels or anything, I've chosen to gain phasing for 4 seconds on kill. This is very nice. You get some dodge and some movement speed. This is a pretty good one. Otherwise, if you need some other stuff, maybe you need to have some another max res. You can do something that gives max resistance, like Soul of Steel is pretty expensive. There are a few of these that give a max resistance that aren't that expensive, as expensive as well. For example, Crystal Skin. This is only costing a silver, which is kind of expensive. Not really though, for the +1 max LE res and avoid ailments if you need that. You could also, if you didn't want to spend all the points to get up here, allocate Heart of Thunder on your anointment, but it is totally not needed at all. So some variations you can take with this build. I don't have my Thread of Hope anymore, but I really liked this Thread of Hope positioning here. You can have it be a very large ring, have it get Runebinder here, so that Stormbrand for extra single target damage. You can get this, and then you can also get this Sanctity here. If you want this, you can get it for extra movement speed, dexterity. Maybe you need some strength. You want a little bit of damage on top. That's fine too. I've also picked up Glancing Blows, just because why not? It's 1 point, and I'm getting a little bit more block. It's really not needed. You can get some life here. This is mainly just to save some points to get an extra brand attached to an enemy. Otherwise, you can go from very large to a large ring. Now with this large ring here, this one is pretty neat because you can pick up this very, very good crit here. 60% crit chance and 30 crit multi for 1 point. If you want, you could pick up this kind of like block thing here, although it's not very needed at this point. What's nice is you can get Spiritual Aid here. Increased and reductions to minion damage also affect you. So this is pretty cool. Any minion damage you pick up on the tree is going to affect you as well. So you can do something like coming over here and going this way instead of this area of effect here. I like having just a little bit of extra area of effect. It's going to give me a little more radius. You can also pick up the life that's here without having to travel anywhere different. You can get something like this, very easy too. Another area of effect, big node, and area damage, and whatever little life down here as well. This is a pretty nice one. It's just giving you a little more flexibility in what you're doing. Both of these, large and very large, are very good though, and I highly recommend having one of these on your tree as it can save you a bunch of points. Another very, very big upgrade that I'm going to be going for is going to be something like Bottled Faith. Remember how important base critical strike chance is? Well, with nothing up, if I pop Diamond, I go up to 80% effective crit chance. With the Flask up, with Cinder Swallow and Diamond, I'm at like 83 because I have some increased crit strike chance during Flask effect here. But when I do Bottled Faith, it's going to add, and this can go all the way up to 2. This is at the middle of the road roll here, 1.5 crit strike chance. This is base, and they're also going to take increased damage. Now, my crit strike chance is going to go all the way up to 73 When I pop a diamond flask, it's going to 92. So I'm critting much, much more frequently. When I pop Cinder Swallow, going all the way up to 94, I'm almost critting 100% of the time. Now, if I change this Bottled Faith, we can get even more critical strike chance. Let's say we get the perfect roll here. Now we are at 97% critical strike chance. That is insane, and it's giving us so much damage. So let's take this off. We go from 2.1 million all the way up to almost 2.7. This is 21% damage increase. That is a lot of damage, and we're critting so much more. Bottle Faith is really, really good, and that is something that I am very much looking forward to. You see here, this was the Unnatural Instinct. It is allocating and giving us all of the bonuses from things I've not put points into. So allocated small passives grant nothing, but it gives all the bonuses of unallocated small passives. So stuff like this, I'm getting all the bonuses here. This is why we don't have to spec it at this point. 4% increased spell damage, because our Unnatural Instinct is giving this. It is such a value jewel. That is why it is so expensive, and that is why it is so worth it. Let's talk about some of the skill gem options here. So we have a lot of cast and damage taken setups. Remember, because of our Storm Secret, we're taking 250 lightning damage every time Herald of Thunder hits something. We have 2 of them, so we're taking a lot of damage all of the time. So we're going to do cast and damage taken on Cold Snap. If you don't have Explode Chest with Frenzy Charge on hit, this is a nice way to get Frenzy Charges. It's also a nice way to just chill all the enemies around you. Dash with Second Wind, so we can use it twice, and we can use it more frequently. Stormbrand, Awaken added lightning damage, Conk Effect, Energy Leech, Power Charge on critical, because each Power Charge is giving us 4% more damage. When we have 10 of these, it's giving us 40% more damage and a little bit of crit strike chance. And Controlled Destruction. Now, we can do Controlled Destruction on here because Stormbrand is a spell, and we're using it. We're using spell damage to scale its damage, but with Herald of Thunder, you cannot use spell damage, which is why we go the staff route and not 2 void batteries. 2 void batteries, you might think, is very good. That's a lot of spell damage, and we get another 2 power charges. That's crazy, dude. But while Herald of Thunder has the spell tag, the storm is not scaled by spell damage. So we have to focus on generic damage increases or flat damage increases. So just generically more elemental damage is very nice. The power charge on crit, again, giving us 40% more damage. Some flat lightning damage. Energy leech, giving us more damage generically while leeching energy shield. And of course, increased critical strike chance, giving us another 1.9 base crit strike chance. So that is very good. Now we go to another cast and damage taken setup. We have our Conductivity Curse, giving them minus lightning resistance. Purifying Flame, giving us, because we don't have Bottle of Faith right now, Consecrated Ground, and Immortal Call, making us take less Ellie and Fizz damage. Wave of Conviction on a cast and damage taken. Exposure, applying minus 25 to whatever element matches the highest damage taken, is going to be lightning, of course. So they get minus 25 lightning resistance. Shock Nova, just having us shock more stuff, so we don't have to cast anything else. As long as we're walking through a pack, they're exploding, they're getting shocked. It's keeping our storms from our Herald of Thunder up all the time. This is very nice, and it makes our clear very, very good. A nice, cute little thing you can do is grabbing a Vol Breach, which acts as a portal gem, so you don't need portal scrolls. And the Vol Breach is going to create a breach. And these monsters, they don't grant experience, drop items, or tick up the Delirium kill counter, but they're adding a bunch of extra monsters that are going to be exploding and dealing their damage everywhere around you. This is very, very nice for those budget builds that are opening a Legion. You pop this, you wait 1 second, 2 seconds, you click the Legion, and now there's a bunch of monsters by all the other Legion monsters, and it's just going to cause this insane chain reaction. These cast and damage taken setups, you can change these around. You can do whatever you want. Maybe you want to have Steel Skin. I just like Immortal Call. Maybe you'd like to have a higher cast when damage taken setup and have a higher level connectivity. You can do whatever you want. Really, it's just the Herald of Thunder and the Storm Brand and the dash that are the important parts here. So we've talked enough about the build. There was a little bit of a showcase at the start, but let's go ahead and just run a T16 alleyways. There's nothing crazy here. They do have chance to avoid elemental ailments, which can be causing us to be a little slower to start our map. But this is going to be with pretty decent gear. But again, I don't have a Calamitous Visions giving me that lone messenger node. So I'm at half damage with my Herald of Thunder. But that is perfectly alright. My damage is still very good, and my clear is going to be very good as well. So you see, you do a 1 Storm Brand to shock something, and now everything else is going to be dying instantly and exploding, killing everything around it because of the explode chest. We can just kind of like dash through everything. Everything is starting to explode. As soon as the Herald of Thunder gets in range, you see it hits one thing, everything around it causes a chain reaction of explosions. This is showcased the best on very large encounters where there's a lot of monsters. A strongbox is very nice. And what is very, very nice are things like legions. Strongboxes are pretty neat though, just because everything comes out and then everything dies instantly. You see, I haven't had to cast a Storm Brand again this whole time because of the Shock Nova shocking things. It's very nice, keeping us within that chain reaction where I don't have to do anything. Now we get to the boss. Single target's not crazy. Again, it's at half damage. But I do just attach a Storm Brand, and I'm totally fine. And that was a pretty fast map clear. If you're doing seed runs and stuff like that, this is going to be your build. Because all you have to do is run. You get your flasks up, pop your flasks again. You keep on running, you keep on trucking. You don't have to stop for anything except loot. As soon as you cast that 1 Storm Brand, you're going to be good for the rest of the map. Only needing to dash and pick up loot. Anyways, I hope you guys are able to kind of go ahead with this budget version of the build. It is very, very fun. And like I said, I think this is going to be the best map clear in the game. Come check this build out. I'm playing it on Twitch. You know, we're streaming every day. YouTube, Twitch, whatever you'd like. It's all down in the descriptions. Come say hi. Let me know how it's going. And if you're having troubles, feel free to come ask me some questions. I like to speed run Path of Buildings. We like to try to solve the problems here very, very quickly. And I should be able to solve yours, but you just have to let me help you. All right. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. We'll see you later. Peace out, everyone.